Hey friends, imagine this. A meteor crashes, wiping out the local population almost instantly. And soon it turns out the meteor is just the first step in a full-scale plan to destroy humanity. The movie kicks off with old documentary footage. A U.S. Air Force commander explains that since 1947, they've received thousands of UFO reports from all kinds of sources. Then, Major Kehoe, author of Flying Saucers Are Real, steps in, insisting that people are genuinely encountering extraterrestrial objects. He shares a pilot's testimony about colliding mid-air with a solid, otherworldly object moving at 500 miles per hour. Later that evening, a family, a mom, dad, and their 2 daughters, sits down for dinner in their home. The younger daughter says a prayer before the meal. Suddenly, the family feels strange tremors, like an earthquake. Then a blast plunges them into darkness. Coming to, the parents search for their kids. Looking out the window, the younger daughter suggests it might be a terrorist attack, but the dad disagrees. He orders everyone to stay away from the windows, warning that the air might be contaminated. At that moment, the older daughter starts choking, blood pouring from her mouth. Within seconds, she's dead. Soon after, the father collapses and dies too. The mother, in a panic, screams for the younger daughter to run, but moments later she succumbs as well, just like her husband and older daughter. The little girl, hiding in a closet, buys herself only a few fleeting moments of survival. Meanwhile, in New York, the news is buzzing about climate change and upcoming shifts. But the broadcast is interrupted by an urgent report. The anchor gets word of a bizarre explosion in a small town in northern Pennsylvania, population 1,300. The cause and exact number of casualties are still unknown. The Pentagon is scrambling to figure out if it's a terrorist attack or a natural disaster. Reporter Samantha is already on the scene, reporting that every single resident of the town is dead. No survivors. The area is sealed off, and the air is confirmed to be toxic. A woman named Lauren is glued to the news from her home. Later, while taking a bath, strange memories start flooding her mind. Her relaxation is cut short by a loud knock at the door. When she opens it, U.S. military personnel urgently ask her to come with them. The explosion in Pennsylvania is a matter of national security, and they need her expertise. Arriving at the military base, she meets Colonel Emmerich, who introduces her to astrobiologist Santiago. He explains that a meteor the size of a baseball hit the town. But something's off. A regular meteor couldn't release a gas that killed everyone in the area. They've never seen anything like this, so the colonel wants them to investigate the site. The scientists gear up for the expedition, but the colonel pulls Lauren aside, suspecting something extraterrestrial might be at play. He knows she's written books and believes in alien life. Later, Lauren and Santiago head to the disaster site. On the way, he mentions he's read her book and shows her pictures of his sons. But Lauren stays silent, lost in her thoughts. At the meteor's impact site, they find a crater. After inspecting the area, Santiago concludes there's nothing interesting here and regrets coming. But Lauren decides to photograph the crater and spots a peculiar small red sprout. Studying the plant closely, she lies down beside it and gently strokes it. That evening, back home, she examines the plant's photo and searches the news for similar incidents. She finds a woman's report about a similar event in another town. In an interview, the woman describes a meteor strike that led to the town's lockdown due to contaminated air and countless deaths. Rumors mention a strange seed that grew into a tree, killing nearby animals, though the tree was eventually cut down. Shocked, Lauren searches for the woman's name and learns she was shot dead. The next day, Dr. Maria Picello and Dr. Kate Ward perform an autopsy on Rob, a victim of the meteor explosion. Military personnel, scientists, and doctors observe. During the initial examination, Kate notices the corpse's skin looks normal, almost alive. When they make the first incision, a strange silvery black liquid oozes out, only to retract back into the body, sealing the cut. Suddenly, Rob sits up on the gurney. Fearing for her safety, Kate flees the operating room. Director Karen McKnight informs the revived man of his location and asks him to raise his hand if he understands her. He doesn't respond. Maria stays behind and asks what to do. Karen suggests checking Rob's pulse. Cautiously approaching, Maria finds no pulse, cold skin, and zero blood pressure. impossible for a living person. Suddenly, screams echo from afar, and it becomes clear that the other deceased have also come back to life. News of the dead rising spreads like wildfire, and reporters swarm the military base, desperate for details. Lauren feels an odd unease. Santiago tries to help, but she assures him she's fine. Doctors examine the revived, showing them photos of their relatives, but they show no reaction. Meanwhile, the governor arrives at the base, demanding answers. Why did only 49 out of 1,000 victims come back? Scientists theorize that those closest to the explosion's epicenter inhaled meteor particles, altering their bodies into something new. Everyone else succumbed to the toxic gas, and it's dangerous to be near the site without protective gear. Lauren meets with the colonel and tells him about a similar explosion in 2013 in another town, with identical symptoms. She's convinced it's not a terrorist attack, but part of a larger plan. The colonel, however, dismisses her. At a briefing, military officials, politicians, and scientists listen to Karen's report. She states that the revived have no pulse, no breathing, no brain activity. They don't sleep or eat. Their physiology screams death, yet their tissues contain unidentifiable substances. It's as if their DNA is transforming into something alien. After Karen's report, Lauren speaks up. She describes the similar incident in another town and suggests the government covered it up, destroying the entire area. She insists it's not a coincidence and demands answers. The president asks for more evidence than internet videos and photos, but Lauren has nothing else. She heads to a store, buys some drinks, and, sitting in her car, sinks into childhood memories. In the hospital, relatives desperately try to connect with the revived, to no avail. Soon, Lauren enters a ward and talks to one of the revived girls, sharing her grief over her mother's death. Suddenly, the revived girl grabs Lauren's hand, shocking her. Lauren tells the colonel, insisting it's tied to the mysterious sprout found at the meteor site. Santiago steps in, comparing the situation to Muslims praying toward Mecca. He notes that the revived instinctively face north, toward the explosion site. The colonel sighs heavily and reveals they've found a strange plant. The news shows a massive tree of unknown origin. Watching the screen, Lauren feels an odd sense of joy. A team of scientists in protective suits, along with Rob, heads to the tree. They notice that the revived man near the tree starts to come alive, his eyes glowing bright blue. Rob decides to stay by the plant, claiming the human environment is now deadly to him. At a press conference, Lauren explains that the tree emits a special gas that allows the revived to exist in this new world. Reporters ask how aliens reached Earth, and Lauren replies that wormholes connect us to other worlds. After the press conference, Lauren's father visits her. They have an awkward conversation about her childhood obsession with science and how her mother worried about her deep dive into projects. Ignoring his words, she asks how he's doing. He expresses regret and says he misses her. As he steps closer, she backs away. With a heavy sigh, he says goodbye and leaves. The next day, the colonel tells Lauren that Rob wants to speak only with her. They tried getting him to talk to the whole team, but it didn't work. He's prepared a list of questions for her to find out what this being is, where it came from, and what it wants. Dressed in a protective suit, Lauren meets Rob. Sitting by the tree, he explains that his planet was destroyed. They were searching for a new home and found Earth. As the tree's seed grows nowhere else, they were given Earth's coordinates. Curious, Lauren asks who provided the information. Rob says it was someone from Earth named Supernova 94 who contacted them and revealed humanity's strengths and weaknesses. Noticing people approaching the tree, Rob asks to drive them away. Lauren explains they won't leave, as the tree is destroying Earth. Rob declares they're used to fighting and won't go quietly. Using his supernatural abilities, he unleashes a wave of energy, causing people to scream in pain. They go mad, attacking each other and firing weapons. Lauren and a few men manage to break free from Rob's influence. Realizing the tree must be destroyed, the military launches missiles at it, but the missiles fail to hit, as the tree is surrounded by a protective dome. Meanwhile, an elderly man listens to the news, learning about the dome around the tree and Supernova 94, who contacted an alien civilization. He enters his room, pulls out old records, opens a notebook, and sees the name Supernova 94 boldly circled and underlined. The news reports strange events, eerie sounds from forests, earthquakes shaking the ground, and mysterious fogs killing people in some cities. In India, multiple explosions claim thousands of lives. Several countries declare martial law, handing power to the military. Farmers report their crops rotting underground. Around the world, people pray to their gods. The dead are cremated, and the living struggle to understand what's happening. Turning off the TV, Lauren gathers her things and leaves. She heads to her father's house. Approaching the shed where her childhood lab once was, she peers through a boarded-up window. Hesitating whether to go inside and see her father, she ultimately decides to walk away. Back at the tree, Rob explains they came to Earth because of her. Reaching out, he shows her fragments of her past that have been haunting her memory. As a young girl, Lauren rides in a car with her father. He asks her not to tell her mother, as their destination is top secret. Arriving, her father leaves with a group, telling her to wait at the entrance. Lauren sneaks after them and overhears a conversation about an extraterrestrial being. After they leave, she approaches a capsule, and somehow the being merges with her body. Back home, she demands her own lab and starts building a device. Her parents grow worried about her behavior. She becomes withdrawn, her knowledge far beyond that of an ordinary child. Eventually, she invents a communication device. Looking at a calendar, she introduces herself as Supernova 94 and sends Earth's coordinates. Her parents tolerate her eccentricity for a while, but eventually ban her from science. Angered, Lauren vows her mother will die soon, and shortly after, her mother passes away. As it turns out, this was orchestrated by alien beings. Her concerned father takes her to doctors, who discover a new form of DNA in her, as if she's half something else. Recalling all this, Lauren cries. Rob removes her protective mask, saying she no longer needs it. She's home. Later, we see the elderly man recalling how he intercepted conversations from a girl named Supernova 94, but they never figured out who she was talking to. Meanwhile, strange objects begin appearing worldwide. They look like spheres, popping up in forests, the Sahara, farms, lakes, and major cities. These objects emit eerie sounds, sparking theories. Some believe they grew from the Earth. Others think a giant spaceship delivered them. Suddenly, the alien spheres explode simultaneously across the globe. Clouds of black smoke spread everywhere. People have no chance to evacuate or survive. The last survivors record a video explaining that the aliens created an atmosphere suited for themselves. Their capsules connect with roots, poisoning the soil beneath humanity's feet. Yet one question remains: where did they come from? Earth is no longer habitable for humans. The planet has transformed, and a new evolution has begun. No one survived, and all terrestrial species and plants are gone. It's now an entirely different world. So, what's the verdict? The movie starts with a bang. A meteor, a mysterious alien threat, a small town on the brink of disaster. It's gripping stuff. The opening minutes set a tense atmosphere and make you expect something epic. But the further it goes, the more it feels like the filmmakers lost track of their own story. The idea of panspermia and alien contact could have been the backbone of an awesome sci-fi thriller, but it drowns in slow scenes, weak special effects, and illogical twists. By the end, it feels like you've only watched half a movie, like the writers forgot to finish the second part. Did I like it? Kind of. If you're into sci-fi with untapped potential and can overlook flaws for the sake of atmosphere, Risen might hook you. But if you want a cohesive story, you'll probably be left with questions. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments.